Penitentiary.
So make sure you subscribe to the WWE Network.
And watch your boys hold it down for Team Blue.
Team Raw ain't got nothing on the O's.
Oh!
Last year at Survivor Series, it came down to two teams, Oos.
Hey, the Usos versus the Bar.
This year at Survivor Series, it comes down to two teams, Oos.
The Usos versus the Bar. Hey, Cesaro, I heard they call you the Swiss Superman, right?
That's right.
Hey, that mouthpiece ain't gonna protect you when I super kick you with this kryptonite, punk. Ooh-wee.
And Sheamus, the Mohawk wearing Celtic warrior. Hey, Oos, I guess it is true what they say about him.
What they say about him, Oos?
You do look stupid.
Hey, this Sunday, Survivor Series ain't gonna be no different. Cause we done lined every tag team up and we done knocked them down like this. Oh, you don't believe me? You don't know? Ask the Hype Bro.
Locked down.
Ascension.
Locked down.
Breezango.
Locked down.
American Alpha 2.
Locked down.
The New Day.
Locked down.
Sheamus and Cesaro.
This Sunday at Survivor Series.
Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary.
Attack skills and vocabulary too. All the hits in the distant edition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetarian like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
Wow, coming to you live. Ringtime Pro Wrestling is at it again. Keith is in the building because he waited too late and Keisha had to go to sleep. So we are doing this early Saturday. Enough time for us to come out and you to listen to it before NXT Takeover, and enough time definitely for you to digest before Survivor Series on Sunday. Something to carry with you into the holidays, even though we'll probably have a pre-Thanksgiving show Wednesday to catch you up on everything. So this is going to be a little bit of a condensed show, because I'm not going to go through the complete recap of Raw and SmackDown. I'm just going to give you the highlights. And then I'm going to give you the birthdays, the news, and then we'll go into the major events that we have going down this weekend. And, of course, I'll give you the history of the event. I'll give you the match-by-match breakdown. So sit down, ride with your boy. You heard the opening promo is the Usos, because I think they embody what this event is going to be about. And it's Raw versus SmackDown. I can't say I hate the format. You know, they went to the brand extension. I like that they bring it back more the traditional 505. I just think I would like it one year if they went all out 505 again. I think the most recent time they did that was like 6 years ago. But, you know, I get it. At one point, they realized that championship matches and stuff like that drive this stuff, and they got to drive numbers. We're going to talk about this event being constantly tweaked. Because if you've been listening to this show for the past few weeks, hey, man, every week we've been talking about a change. Like, they've been working this event over and over again on the fly. Which, consider the last pay-per-view they did, I think they're very concerned about something. Because this one don't really got a lot to do with what happened in the last pay-per-view. The last pay-per-view was more of, hey, man, we got people out. We got to figure out how to fill these gaps. But this one is more like, I don't know. How do we get more eyes on this event? And, you know, they've decided that one way to go is to have a 14-time champion come into the event. A 16-time champion be a part of the event in the same match. Like it's a loaded match, but at the same time, it's an old match. Like it's quite a few dudes in their 40s in this match, or late 30s. I mean, the youngest dude might be Braun, who is 34. Like, that's what we got going on here. But neither here nor there. We're going to break that down. And I guess let's get started. We're going to go with Raw. Stephanie came down, giving Kurt Angle the fits again. And of course, Kurt felt like he needed to prove himself. Thankfully, the Shield interrupted this fiasco. You know how I feel about the early promos on Raw. Like, I think I would like this show to start cold and just do a match every now and then. Not even every now and then. Maybe every 2-3 weeks. Like, make sure, I don't know, give us a break from this monotonous what we do. I think sometimes having two people come out before the show, later in the show, all that stuff is just kind of monotonous, right? Like, you can make an announcement during the show that you don't have to set up some of this stuff. But neither here nor there. The Shield challenges the New Day. So that's going down. They will take on the New Day at Survivor Series. Once again, a tweak to the show. But it was an obvious tweak, too, right? Like, you knew after last week when the New Day cost them the tag team titles that, hey, that was a setup. Bayley defeated Mickie James and Dana Brooke to become the 5th member of the Women's Survivor Series team. Basically, we needed 5. Bayley probably is the most popular member, a recent champion. Rumors with Paige was coming back, but I think they're going to hold on to that. Paige, I think, is going to become an after pay-per-view surprise. Because you know how they like to load the Raw up after the pay-per-view. Jason Jordan defeated Bray Wyatt, but then he got hurt. This match was to prove Jason Jordan belonged. He got hurt. Kurt had to move Jason for the Survivor Series team. Kurt really didn't want to do it. He was struggling with it. Then came down Triple H, who got Kurt face, told him, look, if you can't do it, I'll tell him. I'm the new member of the team. So, bam. We've added Triple H to the Survivor Series team, who has had a good run in the European house shows. I think a lot of people had a very positive response to him on the house show tour, which I don't want them to confuse with people ready to see Triple H just yet. Here's the thing. He hadn't been on TV in a long while. He was just strictly doing the house shows, so nobody really saw him on television. So there's a level of nostalgia with that. There's a level of hype that you get because you feel like you're getting something special. And he was doing shows with the Shield and that kind of thing. So it's something you wouldn't normally see. And I think people bought into that. But it's like that energy, I don't know if you're going to be able to transfer that to Survivor Series. Like, it doesn't seem like it's the same kind of energy. But you deal with people with egos and you deal with people who are in charge. Do I think there was a big spot for Jason Jordan? Yes. But as I break down the tradition of Survivor Series, I'm going to bring you several times a young buck was put in a similar spot. Some were more successful than others. But I can point to you several times where that was a thing. Excuse the yada, y'all. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Also, hey, it's 4:06 if you listen to live. I'm not telling you to cut off my show, but in the background, man, about 4:30, you can start watching some New Japan. The Tag League is about to start up. This is the first night. Should culminate on the 30th of November. But this is the first night of that Tag League tournament. So it's going down. If you got that New Japan World app on your Fire Stick, it's like the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, and it took a while to tweak it. Because, in the beginning, I don't know if it was my Fire Stick. I don't know if it was the app. It just didn't go down right. But they seem to got it together. And if you don't have it, if you got it on your iPad, I suggest you get that Chromecast app for New Japan. And that's that real deal too, because you start watching it in the browser, they give you that option to send it to the Chromecast. Yo, send it to the Chromecast. It works a little different. It's not like you send it through the browser, which is kind of slow, but when you send it through that app, bam, full screen, New Japan on your TV. And you ain't got to do that else. And one thing about Chromecast apps, you get to use your device back because you can start using your device again because the Chromecast that took over the link and is running the show. So, just something to think about. Something you can do if you like to watch your Japanese wrestling live. I didn't get word of the first night being an English commentary. I'm assuming the first night is probably strictly going to be a Japanese commentary. But for you old New Japan heads, that ain't no big deal, right? Like, we grew up without. Like, the idea of English commentary in New Japan is such, like, 2014 idea. 2015, that kind of thing. Like, prior to that, never anticipated the idea of English commentary. I like that ASX was doing, and they still do, like, older shows and, shows. They're not even that much older now. They like shows from, like, a few months ago. And JR and Josh Barnett will do them over with the English commentary. And that's cool. And to see that production value that's on ASX, getting into HD is good. But it's nice. Like, I was I don't say I was resistant to the early change and them having that alternate English commentary. But yeah, man, it's nice. Because New Japan has always been exciting enough, man, where you can just watch it. Even though all these years of watching, I haven't learned Japanese, and I'm so disappointed in myself about that. But that's another tab for another story. We gotta get back to WWE. We gotta get back to Raw, the Survivor Series. So Triple H is the fifth member, and my notes say Kurt Angle is an ain't shit as a father. And it's listed as Keith's words. It is not the views of Keisha or any other of the staff from Ringtime Pro Wrestling. I'm saying on the TV show, Kurt Angle is an ain't shit father. Here's why. First, your son is hurt, but he wants to be a part of the team. If you can't, you gotta tell him, look, man, I'm moving on. This is the time. You'll get another shot. And when he kept crying, look, man, you're a grown man. Shut the fuck up. Suck it up. Get over it. Because you hurt. You can't do what we need you to do. Because this is my dad what told me. Like, look, you going to stay here for all these people keep crying? Or you going to man up and accept the situation as it is? Okay. That's fatherhood moment number one. Second fatherhood moment. Triple H came in and basically punked you and your kid in front of everybody. He came in there and said, look, if you ain't going to do it, I'll do it. All right. That's somebody whooping your kid in front of you because they feel like you ain't being a good enough parent. And then Triple H let the boy cry a little bit, then he gave him a pedigree. You went to go console your son. Hey, man, pedigree ain't never killed nobody. What you need to do is grab Triple H. You can be whooping my kid in front of me. And you had to put Triple H in the ankle lock at that point. At that point, Triple H got to understand, hey, this ain't how this work. I know Triple H was a wrestler recently, but you Kurt freaking Angle. You won an Olympic gold medal with a broke freaking neck. You've had some of the greatest matches of all time. Also, hey, last I recall, the way this thing go, you and Triple H ain't never really had too much of a direct rivalry, but y'all have had a few matches. You ain't never been one to run from Triple H. Tell him, look, you know I'm better than you, punk. Don't be. When he got in his face, you should have stopped him right there. Look, I give your wife a certain level of respect, but you don't run up on me, punk. I don't care who you are. Don't you ever come in this ring and start yelling at me. You gonna talk to me with some respect. Take the bass out your voice, especially in front of his kid. Hey, man, it might be some dudes I don't want to fight, but damn it, hey. I have to fight you in front of the kid. I can't let you sit there and talk bad about me or talk down to me in front of my kid. It ruins the whole authority thing. And I know it's a kid and storyline, but damn it, people, we have to make sure that we protect the story. Somebody as aggressive and killer as Kurt Angle, let somebody just talk like that to him in front of his kid. Now, we're probably setting this up for a match down the line, but I just, something I thought I'd throw in there. So that's it for Raw. So we think that Team Raw is finalized. Man, look, until the match happens, I don't know nothing. And that's for Raw, that's for SmackDown, that's for the whole show. Until a match is finalized, like people are in the ring and it is going on live, I do not know what the final lineup is going to be. But I will predict this pay-per-view based on the lineup that was given to me. And, hey, welcome to the world of Keith Hope fantasy booking. But besides that point, SmackDown. The only thing that really matters is this. Charlotte Flair defeats Natty to be the new women's champion of SmackDown. So she will now take on Alexa Bliss in the champion versus champion match for the women's division. So SmackDown doing all the changes because they're the one who changed. They're not doing all the changes because Raw changed Sheamus and Cesaro instead of the Shield, which you see why they did that now. So the thing is, I think they looked up and they had to make sure all the heavy hitters that they have on their rosters are involved at some level, right? Because what Survivor Series without the New Day for SmackDown? What is the event without the Shield for Raw? So you get it, right? What would the women's thing be without Charlotte? Like, Charlotte to me is still like the cream of the crop. Like, she is the best women's wrestler in that company. Period, point blank. I thought it was Sasha for a little while, but I'm kind of eased back on that. And Charlotte just does things, man, in certain matches. Even when she was a heel. And I thought that maybe a heel should have had a little more chicken shit in her. And I thought that a heel probably could have toned it down. It was a championship match and stuff like that. Just the moonsaults and the stuff she would do off the top rope and outside the ring and stuff like that was just amazing effort. But yeah, so Charlotte has the belt. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is shocking. Ain't that she got the belt. She won it in Charlotte. Rick was there. Like, it was the whole shebang. Now, of course, this is fresh off the Rick 30 for 30. This is Rick really being healthy enough to be out there. There's a lot going on there, right? So, like, because we if you wrestling fans, man, Ric Flair kicked out at 2.5 apparently, and a lot of fans is worried. Like, y'all know me. I write a lot. I haven't written a lot for the site lately, but you know I write, and it's like, I don't want to write this one. Not yet. Dusty was hard enough, and like I had to do Dusty and Piper the same year. It was just too soon. I just looked up yesterday, realized Macho Man would have been 65 this week. Like, there's just stuff that's going on, man. Like, you can't. I just didn't want Rick to go out. And I think Rick is a good public service announcement. Like, he lived that gimmick and he styled and profiled, but he paid a cost. And especially with alcohol, I don't think we take alcoholism seriously enough, and we don't take serious the effects, the long-term effects, and the effects to the people around us. But not to make that all a bummer. Charlotte won in her hometown. Who does that in wrestling? Because Vince, boy, you go into your hometown, hey man, that belt, you might as well leave it there. Like, the key for you in your hometown is to not get embarrassed. Because winning may not happen. You just might as well just hope that, hey, we don't want to get embarrassed. So, that's what we're working with there. But, yeah, that is SmackDown and Raw. So, we are going to roll into birthdays, and then we'll do the news, and then we'll hit our break, because if not, why not? Why Well, like I said, it's a different show today, and we're working with a different time schedule. So, let's go ahead and do our birthdays. I always find it funny, man, when you get to the end of the calendar, it's like, wow, how far are we along? But yeah, okay. So, there really wasn't a lot going on. Macho Man would have been 65 on Wednesday. And do you realize tomorrow, on Sunday, the day of Takeover, Miss Elizabeth has a birthday. Miss Elizabeth would have been 57. So, yeah, that was going down. There's no other real birthdays to talk about. The Bella Twins and all that stuff, that's next week's show. So, next week's the birthdays kind of pick up, but there's not really a lot of birthdays. The news. Now, the news is pretty interesting. I knew what I was going to lead with, but I'll kind of follow up with that one. James Ellsworth has been released by the WWE. They announced it. It was them. It's one of those things, too. Like, this didn't come down through the dirt sheets. This came from WWE.com. And, hey, they had that dude losing to women. You know it was about to be over. I have mixed feelings about this. Okay. When it first announced it, this is where I was. My show notes say church clap. Like, I think I was about to play some hallelujah, hallelujah. Then, my little spirit came up to me and rolled up on me and said, Keith, you sound like a fucking hater. And I'm like, huh? He said, yeah, man, you sound like a hater. I said, why, man? I can't stand that little booger. Got it, right? He was a terrible character. He was absolutely annoying. That's what he was cast to do. That was his job, was to make you irritated by his presence, right? So he did that. But you can't knock a man who lived the dream. That dude was an indie wrestler who, you could tell, he had no physical presence or appearance. Like, he was, by any traditional standards, he was never going to get a contract with a major company. Period, point blank. Like, that's... James Ellsworth probably gave more false hope to a lot of dudes running the indies right now. Because I don't know how many indie shows y'all go to. I go to a few around here in Georgia, and man, look, just understand, I ain't worked out in about 8 months. I ain't touched a weight. I ain't missed too many meals. I'm saying all that to say, I wouldn't dare try to get into a wrestling ring. Geesh, I'll talk to Keith because I generally in moments like this, my partner's here. The guys that I'm talking about, I'd get in the ring with them. Why? Because they couldn't last. But they do these indie shows every week. They work hard, and hey, everything is at a level, right? I do comedy, and you can catch me at the Laughing Skull, the Basement Theater, Relapse, or a lot of different places around Atlanta. There's a new Punchline out here in Marietta that you might catch me at sooner than later. But hey, man, I'll never be on Premium Blend, even though I don't even think that comes on anymore. I'm not about to get an hour Netflix special, but that ain't stopping me from going out there because it's something I like doing. So I get some of this. Ellsworth turned an opportunity that most guys don't get. But he got to be on a squash match, and bam, that guy flipped that into merch and everything else. Gotta give him credit. There's some luck involved. There's a lot going on, but that man stood in the seat and made it work. You couldn't stand him. Look, the guy's in the history books. He was involved in WWE Championship match. Hey, I mean, guys that wish they could say that about their career. I mean, guys that was on the actual roster. Not even guys who hadn't made it yet. So he got a lot out of it. And he is sure that he'll get a nice check out of wrestling for the rest of his life. Think about it. Wherever he was making the indie buckets, that stuff is through the roof now. He go around the country after, he didn't got to wait not complete on the indies and go around and kick it and get them appearance fees and rack up. Like everybody who is just out of the WWE, right? Then, who's to say Ring of Honor or Impact won't bring him in to do a similar role because everybody's a copycat in the wrestling business. And like I said, this guy can ride this for a minute. So, salute to James Ellsworth. I'm not going to miss you on television or a part of the program, but salute my brother on living the dream, because I was mad about him being on the program, but I can't be mad that somebody said, I'm going to live my dream. You know what I mean? People get jobs they ain't qualified for all the time. And who's to say he what? I can't say he wasn't qualified. He was qualified to be the annoying little prick that he was. So, like I said, salute. I'm not a hater. Jack Swagger. You wonder what Swagger is doing? Swagger is out here and decided, you know what? I was a big time wrestler in college. I'm not really doing nothing to this wrestling game. I'm gonna fight for real. He has signed on with Bellator MMA. Bellator is the house that Bobby Lashley has built. It is a place that guys go and fight. I'm going to say they're the one behind UFC. I mean, it's kind of hard because UFC has scooped up and bought everybody. I mean, everybody. So it's kind of weird. Like, they bought WEC, who was out there working it. They bought WEC and just said, look, we'll just use them in our flyweight, our little guy divisions. They bought Strikeforce. That was like the major competitor. I mean, Strikeforce was getting into video games and all that. So now the only company I see out here that has major cable distribution is Bellator. Now, the only thing with Bellator is that I think they've tied themselves too much to pro wrestling. Part of it was the Impact relationship with Spike TV, because when UFC was on Spike TV, they didn't really tie themselves up with that. It was like Ultimate Fighter came on right after Impact, and that was it. But it wasn't no crossover promotion, right? Bellator was all in. Bellator said the fighters at Impact, guys or Impact is at Bellator, da-da-da. I don't know if you do a real fight, you want to associate yourself that tight with pro wrestling. Just my opinion. This is an outside observation. And I know some wrestling people are like, hey, man, are you a traitor? No, man. I think the UFC has managed wrestling in a comfortable way. Like, they've kept it a comfortable distance from them. Like, it's enough where they acknowledge it. Dana White acknowledges Vince McMahon. You can borrow somebody for a time. It's going to cost you. But you can borrow somebody. But that's it. And the guys can come to our events. They can come. They kick it out there. But they can't be like... We can't invite the idea that anything we do might be set up or rigged or whatever. I think Bellator sometimes invites that idea. And I get it, man. When you, the up and comer, a part of it is because, like with Impact, they are an up and comer. They try to be at the top. So sometimes they feel like they got to do what they got to do to get more attention. But yeah. So Jack Swagger's fighting in Bellator. Another thing that will be going down. Ric Flair has filed a lawsuit against his ex-manager, who he claimed has blatantly lied, and his former manager, Lacey Talent and Entertainment, over claims they stole $25,000 that he was supposed to get for the ESPN 30 for 30. Two things. One. Whew. Taking money from Ric Flair is just slow down and dirty, right? But also, shout out to ESPN. First of all, that management stealing $25,000 from Ric Flair. I think he should sue them for only hooking him up with $25,000 from ESPN. Do you know how people watch that 30 for 30? Like, that might be one of the top 30 for 30s of all time. An Emmy Award winning series. Like, this ain't no hobo show. This is the worldwide leader in sports. It wasn't no ESPN2. It wasn't on ESPNU. This was on ESPN1, like the premier ESPN in a primetime slot. They could be airing NBA games. No, they needed Ric Flair. $25,000? What? I want more than $25,000 for a 30 for 30. I'm in. And I'd never be in a 30 for 30. Because nothing I did is that important. Unless they're going to do a 30 for 30 on Sunni Canton and the Lou Saban era. Okay. I'm qualified to be in that 30 for 30. Or if you want to do a 30 for 30 on the great Lou Saban, and you needed some former players to talk. Even then, shit, I ain't saying it cost you $25,000, but damn, even a fraction of that, I don't deserve to be in a fraction of what Ric Flair has done. I'm just saying, like, Ric Flair, y'all only paid that man $25,000. First of all, y'all should be criminally ashamed that y'all only put up $25,000 for Ric Flair. Whoever y'all lawyers was assholes when they walked in the door like, yeah, man, $25,000. And this is before Rick had medical issues either. So I don't know, man. Oh, God. That, like, it was funny reading it because I was going to talk about, like, the manager stealing money. And I was just like, shit. They stole more than $25,000 because, hell, you can't, ESPN just put up $25,000 for that? Like, this is probably one of the most highest rated programs ever. Like that, whew. You do not understand the unified cultural experience that is Ric Flair. Ric Flair brings together so many different types of people. Or so many friends. Like, at work, I'm known as the wrestling guy. A lot of people don't know about the podcast, but they know I dig wrestling, right? So, people like to stop me and talk to me about wrestling, whether it's old or new. Or like, hey, I just saw Undertaker at the airport. You know, people just really random stuff. When Rick came on, man, I was everybody's friend. Because you know what? They want to talk about Ric Flair. Because you had the guy who, I don't really watch wrestling, but that Ric Flair. You had the person that, hey, man, that's back when I used to watch wrestling. That's when wrestling was real. I mean, like, people rock with Rick. Hey, man, white people who are not about the NFL protests, or not about, like, the kneeling and all that, they rock with Ric Flair. Black people, tired of the NFL not acknowledging them or whatever, they rock with Ric Flair. People who support Trump rock with Ric Flair. I don't think Rick has announced himself as a Trump supporter, but Rick has been an avid Republican. Has a supporter of Republican politicians for years. None of you people care. I don't care. No, doesn't really matter. I mean, Rick is like the ultimate, hey man, we rock with you. Like, there's nothing we can compare it to. But, yeah, So $25,000, really? That's what we paid Rick? Oh my God! Like I'm done. Word on the street. Now I'll read this from dirt sheets. So no. Prior to Ellsworth's release earlier this week, there was reported some big plans for him. They said Vince might have wanted Ellsworth to compete for a championship in WrestleMania 34, the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ooh, man, whew. Oh wow, they had a bad idea. If this is true, it is by a former writer, which this is I'm gonna tell WWE. Y'all hire too many fucking writers. First of all, they're not that great. But you need to have more singleness in your vision, and your show would come out better if you had less writers. Instead of just a bunch of dudes trying to write different segments. And treat them right, because y'all release them, but they just spill all y'all shit. But, going out here. They was going to send Ellsworth to compete for the SmackDown Women's Championship and try to turn him into a transgendered wrestler in order to compete for the women's title. Are y'all trying to get the company shut down? Did somebody really think like this? Like, stuff like this can go one of two ways. There could be an appreciation from the community, like, hey, this will bring awareness to the community. Or there's the other, and I'm going to say this is going to go other. Y'all try to clown us. Y'all think that this is cool. Y'all think that this is a way, like, to do us? Like, this is how y'all see us? Like, all of a sudden, you could just call yourself trans? And, like, I think it would have been more of, like, y'all are making a mockery of what people are really, really going through in this country and trying to deal with. And y'all are trying to turn it into a trend. And that's not really how this is supposed to work. Also, breaking news. Now, I am not a fan of wrestling gossip, but this one, if this is true, oh man, oh, why do I not have Keisha sitting here for this one? So, apparently, David Otunga's relationship with Jennifer Hudson is apparently over. She had a restraining order taken out against the WWE announcer. The news was reported by People, and TMZ posted a statement from David's lawyer, Tracy Rizzo. He has been trying to negotiate the terms of amicable parenting agreement with Ms. Hudson for several weeks now. However, it has become apparent Ms. Hudson that Mr. Otunga would be the parent granted residential care of the child as a result of Mr. Otunga being the child's primary caregiver while Ms. Hudson pursues her career all over the world. Ms. Hudson decided to file meritless petition for order of protection in an effort to gain an unfair advantage in the custody dispute. As a result, Mr. Otunga's career with the WWE. Ms. Hudson felt that she could give an award-winning performance in court and portray herself as the victim. Damn. Mr. Otunga has never abused or harassed Ms. Hudson or their son. David's lawyer wanted to make clear that Otunga never got physical with his fiancée, and there was no reason for a restraining order but merely filed in interest of their child, according to Hudson's rep. Okay. So, this one, I have to really play with. One, y'all noticed the end of David Otunga's WWE career, right? Like, they could never find nothing to do with him. They could never place him somewhere. The announcing table, I thought was working out, but, you know, he was always gone here and there. I think he's working on a movie or something right now. This is it. That dude done. Because the allure of David Otunga was that he was with Jennifer Hudson. And apparently they're not married. They never actually got married because they always said his fiance or something like that. It's like, shit. how many years has this been? It's been like 6 years. Nah, he not married. So I'm gonna say this. I don't think she wanted to get married. I thought she felt like, hey man, this bum dude, and maybe he thought his WWE deal would make enough bread where it's like, oh, he ain't a bum. Hey man, I think this dude wrestling career is done. So, not really his career as a whole, but it's done so. So now they're in a custody battle. His lawyers is out here putting sniping statements. This is gonna get interesting. But those January releases that's going down, probably expect to see your tongue and name in there. Wow. Like, these are things that you don't expect. And quite honestly, this is the kind of stuff that usually comes down after I've recorded a show. This might be the advantage of recording the show in the middle of the night. Like, generally me and Keisha get done, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm editing, and then I go and check, and it's like, oh, some stuff just happened. What? Huh? Yeah, that kind of went down. And, whew. So we'll talk about the other stuff after the break. What else should we talk about? Oh, well, Booker T revealed in a recent interview why he's not a fan of Jason Jordan. He said, I'm not a huge fan of Jason Jordan or anything like that. I'm not going to hate on him or anything like that. Opportunities in his business are few and far in between. I'm going to say, Booker, you're full of shit. Booker T might be more in line with the real Booker T. If you want to know what I mean by that, just do a little reading and a little research. Because I know as Booker T watched it, it's like, not so much over here. But, fight me. I study history, you probably didn't. And I mean, like, I really study history and those people in particular. So, Booker T has a thing when he's on that mic with black wrestlers that he goes down on them hard. Like, hard. And I don't get it. It's like, shit. I am at the top. I am a Hall of Famer, and you Negroes will not. I remember he was mad at the New Day when they had mocked the Hulk Hogan nigga promo. You said it, man. You can't be understand. People gonna bring up old stuff. You just gotta deal with that, man. Sorry. You the one in a live interview decided that was. Well, you didn't decide, it slipped, but it happened, man. If you can't laugh at yourself, people gonna keep laughing at you. Just understand. It ain't really that fun when people laugh at themselves. But if you feel like somebody takes something too seriously, oh boy, you ride that thing. Anyway, he said, I'm not healing on him. If I like you, I like you. If I don't like you, I don't like you. It's that simple. To me, he's not proved himself to be a top guy on Monday Night Raw. I don't see one sign in that audience that says Jason Jordan is my guy. If you ain't got no signs out there, it tells you one thing. You ain't that hot, or people just don't care about you right now. Jason Jordan is lukewarm. I would challenge Booker T that at that point in his career, he was lukewarm too. So you got to remember, Booker T didn't come to Raw as a rookie. Booker T came to Raw as a dude with like 15 years in the business and was a world champ on the 1A show in the world, right? This is WWE's number one show. There was a time WCW was number one. And they fell back to number two. But they was always a consistent two, but they went to one. And number two means something a whole lot different than what it meant now. See, number two back then was, we're still doing arenas. You understand what I'm saying? Our pay-per-view still, we can knock out 50,000 in a building. We are selling, a couple of 100,000 buys a pay-per-view. We're drawing a 5 rating on television. So he had that kind of national exposure. So he came into the game with a belt. Well, Booker T was with his brother in Harlem Heat in, 94. Did we care that much about Booker T? Was there Booker T signs in 1994 at the arena? And by then, Booker had been in the game about 7 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, him and Stevie Ray was the Ebony Experience in Global Wrestling Federation. Like, you gotta really go back. And even then, I don't know if there was Booker T signs up. You gotta watch them old tapes. He had to work and establish himself. Now, what helped, he was a part of a tag team. What helped with him was that at that time, they only allowed about 2 black wrestlers in every company. So, I mean, he was a novelty act. Like, there was a lot of things going on. Jordan is in a different time and a different media culture, and he's got to evolve. But, just like he lukewarm, don't think they try to heat him up. Just like every other dude on that show. Shit, you see what they do with Roman Reigns. They just try to get this guy in the mid-card. Shit, y'all see what they do to guys that you tired of seeing. But I digress. Like I said, Booker T is a cranky old black dude. That happens from time to time. From here, we're going to take a break. I'm going to get something to drink. And we'll be back, and we'll preview TakeOver, and then we'll preview the good old Survivor Series. And we'll be back.
But you burned the soul of Sister Abigail, Randy. And so did I. And I should have known better. Sister Abigail is the spawn of Satan. She was forged in hell itself. And she still beats in the black hearts of all her apostles. Now she has bestowed her power upon me. Now I am the Lord of Lords, with no boundaries, the all-powerful, the all-seeing, the all-knowing. I am omniscient. It is my duty to purge all of the infidels in this life. I'll start with you. I have consumed all of her wickedness. She lives through me now, eternally. I'm born again, Randy. In her ashes, I baptize myself.
What's up, everybody? We are at the takeover portion of the show. NXT is going to take over. Something that they do at the big pay-per-view events now. They knock it out on Saturday night. And look, I kind of went hard on Booker T in the last segment. Shouts out to Booker T. Booker T is a pioneer of the business. He's done a lot of work. And he's kind of hosted his whole weekend down there in Houston, his hometown, which I think he's still running for mayor. Not 100% sure. But, yeah, man, I feel like I came down a little hard on him. But, yo, he do be riding hard on black wrestlers. And that's just what it is. I would love to tell you that that's you know, I'm exaggerating, but it's not like something I noticed independently. Y'all follow Twitter. Hell, y'all follow black people watch podcasts. I'm sure it's been said on the Wrestlecast how Booker T go in on black wrestlers. Not to throw my fellow comrades in the fire, just in case this bounces back. But hey, man, Booker T kind of goes hard on black wrestlers. But anyway, takeover. We're doing War Games. For those of you who do not know what War Games is, it is one of the greatest matches of all time. The WWE will alter it a little bit because that's what the WWE does. This is a Dusty Rhodes creation. What you have here is first time ever done in the WWE. They bought WCW 15, 16 years ago. This is the first time they've ever really utilized the concept that they now own. Too bad they waited till Dusty passed away, but they probably waited till Dusty passed away because they knew they was going to buck it up and didn't want to have to hear Dusty tell them how bad they was bucking it up. Right? But here you go. You have two rings. So you put the two rings side by side. Then what you do with those two rings is you put a cage around the two rings. The cage covers the two rings, and the men then fight in that cage. There's no escaping. There's no climbing out. There's none of that. Basically, you just got to win the match. So, how do you win the match? Somebody on one of the teams got to quit. Somebody got to be getting beat so bad that they like, look, man, I'm tired of taking this ass whooping. It's been long enough. The way the original War Games format was this. You flip a coin before the match. You send two guys in the ring. For purposes of nostalgia, let's say I'm sitting in Arn Anderson because Arn Anderson always popped it off for the Horsemen. He was the guy they used to set the tone. All right, good guy team. We're sitting in Nikita Koloff. All right, cool. They go to work. After a minute, whoever won the coin flip gets to send their next man in. 9 times out of 10, it's the heels. Why? Because the heels always wanted that one-man advantage. So you get the heels the one-man advantage, and, of course, what happens is, you know, the good guy come in and even it up. Then it balances out for a little bit. It keeps going like that until the final good guy comes in. And it's all even. And it's usually the most popular good guy, and the whole arena pops like crazy, right? Standard format. First of all, the WWE has taken the top off the cage. What does that mean? It may not mean a lot, but if people try to climb out or do stuff or climb to the top or whatever they're going to do, it's just going to alter the whole feel of how that works, right? So I'm not sure who decided this was a good idea, but, you know, they're rolling with it now. Also, the match is going to consist of 3 teams. The Authors of Pain versus Roderick Strong, Sanity, and then the Undisputed Era. Now, the 3-team format is going to make it different, too, because remember that whole spiel I gave you about guys coming in and that kind of thing, right? I can tell you how this year's format will go. So, because apparently everybody will go through. Yeah, so the match beyond is still gonna be the same, I guess. But the cages being without a roof is just kind of, I don't know. But we'll see how it works out. But let's get into this card, right? So I just clicked the wrong note. Okay. Cassius Ohno will take on Lars Sullivan. It's kind of an easy one. Lars Sullivan. Cassius, good cat, but more of a guy who gonna put people over at this point. I don't think they feel the same way about Cassius Ohno as they used to. Aleister Black versus the Velveteen Dream. Now this one is very interesting. Aleister has been a guy who's been on the rise in NXT. I think he's a guy who has like championship aspirations. The Velveteen Dream. For those of you who don't know, that is Patrick from Tough Enough, which I always wondered how he was going to resurface. That guy was passionate, man. Like you not rooting for that guy. I think it's almost crazy because that guy believed everything. Like he was into it. Like I expected him to say it's still real to me, but yo, when he was in that house, he could stand them dudes. He could stand the big dudes because he thought they was lazy. He thought they couldn't win these challenges because they was lazy, and they didn't appreciate the opportunity. They didn't know the history of wrestling, and that pissed him off even more. He was 19, and he was a little naive and a little cocky, but I dug him because it was one of the things that I think we as fans always complain about. Like, look, man, how the hell are you in this? You don't know who is? What the hell is wrong with you? So he was able to tell them that to their face. He didn't have no back down in it, but I appreciated that. You kind of knew they was going to end up having him at the Performance Center. So after a couple of years, they refined him, and here comes the Velveteen Dream. I'm going to say Prince meets Gold Dust. I guess it's supposed to be the vibe. Gold Dust with a Prince flavor. Because he wears a velvet. He's, the purple velvet. So, who knows? I still think Aleister's going to win this, but I think the Velveteen Dream is going to have a good showing. And I don't think this is the final time they're going to wrestle. It's Velveteen plays a lot of middle games with the guy. It's going to be interesting, but I'm going to go with Aleister Black here. The women's title, which has been vacant for a while, ever since Asuka got injured, and then she went to Raw. This one, I'm going to say, it's an interesting match. So you have Ember Moon, who rose up, was a number one contender, got hurt in the same match where Asuka got hurt. You got Kiera Zane, who was the winner of the Mae Young Classic. Nikki Cross, who of Sanity, that girl crazy. No other way to put it. And then, of course, Peyton Royce, who got her homegirl on her side, so there's always the shenanigans of cheating in play. How does this Fatal 4-Way play out? I think it comes down to Ember Moon and Kiera Zane. I'm sorry. I think it's them. As much as I remember Ember being the next person up, I think Sane winning Mae Young Classic and that being a catapult to the NXT title would be a good showing for the company. So I'm just going to go with Sane. Drew McIntyre will take on Andrade Almas for the NXT title. Okay. This one, I'm going to say this. I feel like Drew McIntyre had a bad run with the NXT title. And I think he's going to need a heel turn to spice it up. One, I think he's naturally a heel. Like, the babyface thing was good for him to come over back home, right? And the dude is huge, and he is jacked. But I feel like babyface. It just ain't him. And he got kind of a raw deal. He got the belt. He won it from a charismatic champion that I thought had a lot going on. The problem is the night he won it, he is attacked by the Undisputed Era. So now the story of him winning the title isn't really that important because Adam Cole makes his debut by kicking him in the face. And then you do that to not really feud him with Adam Cole. So the Undisputed Era kind of gets more caught up with Sanity, and then they get caught up with Authors of Pain and Roddy, and it's kind of like Drew just kind of over here as the champ. I don't know. But he's going to beat Olamas. Just understand that. He's going to beat him. There's no reason to put a belt on him. So I think Drew's going to beat him, and then they'll probably repackage him and figure it out. But right now, it's just kind of like, oh, man, you kind of want a less spectacular champ. So it's like he's not going to main event this show. I mean, the main event's going to be War Games. So it's going to be on that level. Like, he's not in War Games. Like, he'd be more compelling in War Games to defend his title. But War Games, Authors of Pain, Roderick Strong versus Sanity versus the Undisputed Era. Because you have a mix of three teams, because I think a lot is invested in the up-and-coming Undisputed Era, I think it's going to go their way. Authors of Pain is going to hit main roster pretty soon. Roderick Strong probably is too. I don't know if Roddy's going to 205 Live. I don't know if he's just coming to SmackDown, but I see him on the main roster soon. But, yeah, so kind of had a little brain fart there. Yeah, the Undisputed Era, I think they have a lot more ideas for what they're going to do with them. Sanity, I think they'll make a game of it, but I think they'll ultimately lose. But I think the Undisputed Era will walk away winners of War Games. And it'll be by hook or by crook. Like, I think the other teams will cost each other the match, and once Undisputed Era get the right weapons in their hand or something like that, it'll work out for them. So that's it for NXT Takeover. And now we are at Survivor Series, the Thanksgiving Classic, even though we don't do it on Thanksgiving no more. I don't know if that affected the buy rates or not back in the day. I would think it would. The only reason I say that is because, one, you already got the families all together, and maybe that's the problem too, right? So in situations where you've got people who've gathered together, if you host a big event like that, your buy rate is affected because if everybody at the house already watching it, because I probably worst time I want to watch Survivor Series. I probably was at my grandmother's house or something on Thanksgiving. So you know who was there? Cousins, uncles, aunts, you know. So what happens is, if we're all at Thanksgiving watch Survivor Series, they not going home to their house watch Survivor Series. I didn't go to my house to watch Survivor Series. So you possibly lost 2 to 3 buy rates in one household. So that's my own independent speculation. Even though a lot of people got the network, and I mean the network, I think changed the dynamic on that because whether you watch it or not, you pay the $9.99, right? So, you know, it's about them just having the subscribers. But yeah, we still doing it on Sunday, which is a traditional pay-per-view day. It is the 31st Survivor Series. For those of you who don't know, this is the gangster of Vince McMahon. So the history of this event. Back in the day, WCW used to do Starrcade on Thanksgiving, which WCW, used to do Starrcade on Thanksgiving. WWF decided they wanted Thanksgiving for Survivor Series, their new pay-per-view. Now, this is on like the heels of like 3 WrestleManias that were insanely successful. They wanted, pay-per-view company said, we already kind of booked for that day. They told them, hey man, If you don't give us that day, we'll give you WrestleMania next year. Cable companies pissed themselves and said, look, we gotta give you that pay-per-view slot. Now you say, how come these people couldn't run 2 pay-per-views at the same time and let it compete? Well, Vince wouldn't have had that. 2, in 1987, pay-per-view didn't work like that. There was one channel. All this on-demand stuff y'all got, please. One channel. And the shit came on when it came on. So, if Survivor Series started at 8 o'clock, and you don't check in until 8:15, you about to start the show 15 minutes late. There ain't no electronics that can help you or save you back there. You was just late and you missed it. If it lets you order. Because at the time, you had to order all by phone and call in. And they shut that thing down after a certain time. You only could order so many times, a little bit before and a little bit after. And that was it. So, that's how it went down. So, they gave WWF that slot. WCW hits then moves Starrcade till Christmas. Slap in the face, WWE is going to run a Starrcade live event and call it Starrcade in Greensboro next week and bring out the rock and roll and all that. And I think that's kind of, once again, slap in the face of Dusty. I don't even know if the Rhodes kids are booked, but that's what we got going down. And, kind of like act like, hey, we won. Because Vince like to stunt like, hey, we won. Now, WCW moved Starrcade to Christmas, and for fun purposes, the next year at this is what created the Clash of the Champions. Next year during WrestleMania, WCW ran a free show called Clash of the Champions on TBS, and it went head to head with WrestleMania. And it really didn't matter because it was on free TV, so I'm sure it cost WrestleMania some buy rates. And once again, there was no on demand. You couldn't DVR it. You could, you could order it later. And order it later did matter back then because, hey man, if you didn't see nobody and it was over the holidays, it was a new show to you. You didn't get the results because it wasn't done to get. You could go on the internet and see it. Like, could nobody spoil it for you? Unless you ran into somebody who told you about it. But as long as you didn't do that, you was good. It was still a new show to you. But let's go down the line of this wonderful card. Enzo Amore will defend the Cruiserweight title against Kalisto in the pre-show. I expect to probably be more pre-show matches that are not been assigned because it's a 2-hour pre-show. And I do not understand 2-hour pre-shows. I got a feeling Survivor Series might hit towards that 4-hour mark, which I'm going to petition the WWE. Like, look, man, you know why some of y'all ratings down and a lot of other stuff? Too much time. Look, y'all want me to get 3 hours to Raw, 2 hours to SmackDown, an hour to NXT, an hour to 205 Live. Man, look, that's 7 hours. 7 hours. What if I watch TNA? Huh? I got 9 now. What if I watch ROH? I got 10 now. New Japan do something in the same week. The same week y'all got a pay-per-view. I'm up to like 16 hours of wrestling. There's only like 100-something hours in a week, and I have to work 40 of them. And I gotta sleep like 60 of them. Man, look. I'm married, man. I can't be like just ignoring people for 16 hours. That's how you be in divorce court. Anyway, just a side note. A lot of time. I'm just saying. Raw probably should be 2 hours and get your pay-per-view. That make the 3-hour pay-per-view special. Y'all got to make it special now by pushing it 4 hours and then try to do pre-shows and putting matches that matter in the pre-show. What the hell is y'all doing? I don't know, man. But that's going down. But yeah, Enzo is out here and he's gonna wrestle Kalisto. Enzo will beat Kalisto because they believe Enzo in this cruiserweight title. And I think Kalisto's been a good opponent for him, but I think we're about to wrap up this portion of the program. The Miz will take the IC title against the U.S. champion Baron Corbin in the mid-card Raw vs. SmackDown match. Who do I like? I think Miz wins because, one, they have no problem making Baron Corbin lose. And Miz got help. That dude out here with two dudes. He out here with the boy Bo Dallas. He out there with the Curtis Axel. I think they may get hurt, but they'll provide the needed distraction for Miz to hit his move. Now, I think it's going to be funny because y'all going to watch this match and Miz is going to be the babyface, which I think he's always kind of in danger of on Raw because his promos, people just appreciate him. And I think people have grown an appreciation for the Miz. He's there every week. He's not the guy that they push down your throat. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, he's grown on people organically. But, yeah, Miz defeats Baron Corbin. So, what up for Raw? Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte for the SmackDown, for the women's title supremacy. Charlotte will defeat Alexa Bliss because she's on that streak, and come on, man, you can't think Alexa Bliss could beat Charlotte. Gotta keep this real. Now this may be the debut of Paige or something like that weird, but outside anything weird happening, Alexa's not beating Charlotte, so we'll do that. Now we're 1-1, right? The Shield versus the New Day. I'm going to say the Shield. Why? Because they're the Shield. I expect the New Day to put up a good performance. I expect there to be some fun and some shenanigans. But at the end of the day, it's the Shield, right? Like, we're downgrading them having them in this match. But I think it's a match of two teams that are too prominent to not have on this show. So this is what we did. We put them in a match against each other. So that'll work. So we have that match going down. The Usos will take over the Bar in the champ versus champ match for the tag teams. I'll give that one to the Usos. I think the Bar's the talented group. And that being said, I think the Usos are the best tag team in that company. And I think it'll show. So we'll get that to the Usos. Raw women versus SmackDown women, traditional 505 Survivor Series match. Raw women, I mean, way physically more opposing team, right? I got Nia Jax. I got Asuka. If those two are left by themselves against the SmackDown 5, they're not losing. But they got Sasha Banks. The weak link is the captain, Alicia Fox, but Sasha Banks and Bayley, I mean, look, that team out. And I like SmackDown. I like Naomi. I like Tamina. I like Becky Lynch. But I don't think they got the horses. Unless you do something weird and get Nia disqualified early, like SmackDown really don't have a chance. So I'm going to go with Raw. AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. This was kind of easy too. AJ will lose, unfortunately, but he will have the greatest showing of his life. The narrative will come out that Brock Lesnar won, but AJ Styles pushed him to the limit, and people would love to see them wrestle again. Will it happen? I don't know, but that's pretty much how that match will go. We will be celebrating the praises of the performance of AJ Styles, but Brock Lesnar will still win the match. The big match. The Raw Men versus SmackDown Men 5-on-5 traditional 5 series match. Everything looks like Raw would win. They've got Braun Strowman. They've got Samoa Joe. The captain is Kurt Angle. SmackDown's captain is Shane McMahon. Come on, man. That's not a big deal. Triple H has been moved to the Raw team. Like going down the line, Finn Balor. So, SmackDown, Shinsuke Nakamura is out there. I gotta look at the rest of the SmackDown roster. Matter of fact, I'll tell you who else is going down that road. But just looking at that team, Raw should win, but I think SmackDown's gonna pull it off. I think they're gonna make smart moves. Randy Orton, so very cerebral. That RKO is a dangerous move, and I think it will, it'll catch a few people, and it'll go that way. John Cena, like you cannot count out anything that has John Cena in it. And I think the dysfunction of Raw losing is the longer storyline. So that's why Raw has to lose too. Raw has to lose because the dysfunction of them losing will make the storyline. And hey man, I don't know if Braun is even going to be a factor in the match because he got this Kane problem. So I don't know if Kane ruins the match for Raw by messing with Braun. So doing that and taking Braun out of the match, maybe getting him counted out or something, you alter the whole ethos of the match. And then when you take away that size advantage from somebody like Braun, SmackDown can go head up to Raw. They looking good. So SmackDown will beat Raw in that one. And that'll be the end of the show. And we will move on towards Royal Rumble. We'll figure out who doesn't like who and keep it rocking. But with that being said, we'll be back Wednesday, and Keisha will be in the building, so you just won't be tortured by my voice. And we'll go on from there. So with that, we are out. Peace.